Could Wade Barrett be returning to the ring to take on Drew McIntyre? Welcome to Allison Analysis. I'm Ben Allison and I've analysed last night's episode of Monday Night Raw, and here are my 5 key findings. In at number 5, the Judgment Day aren't street trash. Last night, for the first time since Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley were kicked out of the group, the Judgment Day actually looked strong. They took out the Terror Twins, they took out Rey Mysterio, and they did it all without wearing their new hideous street trash merchandise. The fact that their new tagline, the street trash, and also the fact that they didn't even wear the t-shirts, I mean, it gives me hope that they saw the social media reaction yesterday and were like, yeah, okay, we should probably just abandon this and forget it ever happened. I still do think that both Liv Morgan and Finn Balor need to win their matches at Bad Blood, because after the loss, all of them basically took a bash in Berlin when they lost pretty much a 5-on-2 handicap match. I think the factions does need a couple of major W's to bounce back, and that is certainly the way to do it. I still do think this version of the Judgment Day has a lot of potential, but they just need to be booked better, and if they are, then I think they'll be completely fine. In at number 4, WWE used Bret Hart well last night. In most cases, when WWE bring legends back, they just come out, they cut a promo, maybe some mid-card talent will come out, insult them, and then have the legend hit their finisher on them. But this time they was actually used to it. Because Bret Hart came out, he got the legend's hometown pop, whatever you want to call it, and then Gunther came down. And I loved the line from Gunther when he said, Bret Hart, you were my second favorite growing up, just behind Bill Goldberg. And it was just absolutely hilarious. And then out came Sami Zayn and everything made a lot of sense. Sami Zayn challenged Gunther for the World Championship. Gunther rejected the challenge. And then Bret Hart said to Gunther, what, are you a coward? And then he started losing his... Genuinely, this is how you use a legend in a feud, right? He came in, he added to it, he left, he got the pop, the crowd went home happy, everybody wins. This is how you do it. Talking about the Harts, in at number 3, welcome back Natalya. After a few months, Natalya has officially returned to WWE, and I am absolutely thrilled. I've always thought Natalya has gotten way too much hate, and also just not enough credit for her major role in the women's revolution. People really seem to forget that back when there wasn't much wrestling going on in the women's division, Natalya was wrestling. The break that she took was probably needed to remind people how much that she means to that women's division, because truly, she adds a lot. Now, don't get me wrong, I still don't think she's going to have another world title run or anything like that, but I think she's going to be a great hand in that women's division, and a lot of people think the word hand is an insult. It's anything but. It's arguably one of the most important roles. In fact, it's probably the most important role, excluding the champion. In at number 2, I'm going to miss 3-hour Raws. Now, in case you missed it, last night's episode of Monday Night Raw will be the last edition of a 3-hour Raw until it moves to Netflix in 2024. And since Triple H took over creative, I thought the 3-hour Raws have been absolutely phenomenal. Storylines have had time to breathe, to really go deeper and just to develop themselves. Because let's face it, a lot of people have criticized SmackDown compared to Raw in the last few months, and I think time is a big reason why. Now the question is, why is it moving to 2 hours? Well, I think very, very simply, USA did not want to pay for 3 hours. Because in case you didn't know, next Monday is when the deal was meant to be up. This episode of Raw tonight was meant to be the last episode of Raw on USA. However, USA extended the deal until 2025, so Netflix could pick it up at that point. They essentially did WWE a bit of a big favor, right? They bought Raw, well not bought Raw, they bought the rights for Raw at a much lesser value until 2025. But once it does go back to Netflix, I'm almost certain it's going to go back to 3 hours, because in case you guys didn't know, a few months ago, Nick Khan was asked about the possibility of Raw going back to 2 hours, and he said from a business perspective, it would hurt them. It would not be a benefit. And at that time, he even brought up the possibility of SmackDown going to 3 hours. So if after all of that, investors would be asking a lot of questions if they suddenly went back to 2 hours out of nowhere. 3 hours provides WWE with a lot more value, and they can charge a lot more for it, plus there's more sponsorship opportunities within the product itself. And in at number 1, could we be getting Wade Barrett versus Drew McIntyre? That Drew McIntyre promo last night was absolutely fascinating. And not just because we got a Hell in a Cell match from it between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, but also because it very heavily teased McIntyre versus Barrett. Could Wade Barrett be returning to the ring one more time for one last match, for the retirement match which he never got? I mean, it's the only logic I can see behind this segment. Why else would you do it? We know that the Punk and McIntyre feud is going to end at Bad Blood, and after it, CM Punk can take a couple of months off, then come back and feud with Seth Rollins. That makes a lot of sense. But as for what's next for Drew McIntyre, well, that's what's not quite as clear. A feud with Wade Barrett coming straight out of this, perhaps at the Royal Rumble or Survivor Series, would make a lot of sense and would continue Drew McIntyre's phenomenal momentum that he's got at the minute. But overall, I really enjoyed last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. It was a fun episode, and I guess it's going to be the last 3-hour one for a while, where they went out with a bang. But what did you guys think of the show? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you did enjoy this video, please hit the thumbs up button. I really do appreciate it, and I will be back on Thursday to talk a little bit of AEW Dynamite.